A profound silence pervaded that ancient pre-dawn. The wind coursed through the ramparts of Babylon like a whispered premonition. And within a humble chamber, a lamp flickered over an unfinished scroll. Daniel knelt, his countenance etched with exhaustion and the weariness of years spent in exile. He was no longer the vigorous youth who had once been carried away from his homeland. Now his hair was silvered, and his hands, calloused from ceaseless writing and prayer, trembled as they grasped the quill. But his eyes still blazed with the same unyielding fire of faith that had once compelled him to defy kings and endure the lion's den. As he prayed, a presence permeated the room. It was not the sound of footsteps nor human touch, but a vibration in the air, as if time itself had paused to listen. Daniel felt the ground tremble, and a soft light pierced the chamber. His heart pounded. He knew, when the unseen moved, the eternal wished to speak. And it was there, amidst tears and trepidation, that an angel appeared to him with a sealed message, something beyond human comprehension, a cipher of time, a revelation that did not belong to his generation. The angel spoke to him of empires yet to rise, of kingdoms that would crush nations, of a succession of powers destined to march until the end of time. Daniel saw symbols, a ram, a goat, horns that rose and were broken, winds that churned the sea. Each image made him tremble. He did not grasp everything, but he felt the spiritual weight those visions carried. They were not mere political events. They were invisible forces in conflict, the spiritual and the terrestrial intertwined before his eyes. And then, like lightning tearing through the night, he heard the voice, "Daniel, son of man, these words are sealed until the time of the end." The old prophet fell to the ground, stunned, breathing with difficulty. His spirit wavered between fear and awe. He understood that this was not just for him, it was for a distant time, for a generation that would see the invisible touch the visible, the spiritual invade the physical. And that time, though he did not know it, was drawing near. The following days were an ordeal of agony and introspection. Daniel barely ate. He wandered the palace corridors with a faraway gaze, like one burdened by a secret the world could not comprehend. He recalled the furnace's inferno, the lion's den, and how the eternal had always preserved him. But now, something felt different. This revelation spoke not of personal deliverance, it spoke of the destiny of all humankind. The visions returned in dreams. He saw beasts emerging from the sea, each more terrifying than the last. He saw empires devouring one another, and in the end, a beast with human eyes and an arrogant mouth, which spoke against the Most High and persecuted the saints. Daniel would awaken drenched in a cold sweat. He knew that each symbol held profound meaning, the spiritual manifesting in the form of empires, human pride attempting to usurp the Creator's throne. But what terrified him most was what was to come at the end. A time when deception would be so refined, so seductive, that even the faithful might be led astray. An era when truth would be confounded and right and wrong would mix like iron and clay. The angel had foretold that knowledge would increase, that men would run to and fro, and that the wise would understand, but the wicked would comprehend nothing. Daniel prayed and wept. He yearned to comprehend time, yet time was not yet prepared to unveil itself. What he witnessed profoundly shook him, an unseen war, waged not with swords, but with ideas, beliefs, and hearts. If you've made it this far, it's because you feel something stirring within you, a calling, a restlessness, the same sort of echo Daniel heard in the pre-dawn hours of his exile. So tell me, do you sense the world is transforming, that something spiritual is unfolding behind the chaos we witness? Write in the comments what your heart perceives. I read every word. And if you wish to continue on this prophetic journey, subscribe now, not merely to watch, but to comprehend the signs of the times. Together, we will decipher the invisible. Time marched on. Daniel grew aged, yet the visions did not forsake him. He no longer served as a counselor to kings. He was now merely a solitary man, wandering amidst memories and prayers. But the spiritual realm remained active around him. On a rain-swept night, as he sought comprehension, a radiant figure materialized before him. It was no ordinary angel. Its countenance was that of fire, its eyes blazed like lightning, and its voice was like the roar of many waters. The celestial being revealed to Daniel that there was a battle unseen by the human eye, principalities, powers, and spiritual forces warring over the destinies of nations. The prince of the kingdom of Persia had resisted for 21 days until Michael, the great prince, came to his aid. Daniel trembled. The prayer he was offering on earth was making a way in heaven. There, he grasped the power of intercession. Each plea, each tear, mobilized unseen legions. The prophet realized that the true battlefield was not the throne of kings. It was the human heart. Perfect. Following, I present the complete continuation of the script. Daniel and the final code of time, the visions that awaken the end, now with blocks 4 to 8, maintaining the epic, prophetic, and cinematic style, continuous and profound text, with the spiritual and emotional climax at the end, and a welcoming, reflective, and engaging closure. The night was silent, yet Daniel felt an internal war that the world could not comprehend. The angel had departed, but the weight of the revelations lingered. He traversed the empty corridors, observing the palace columns that once reverberated with music and revelry. Now the sound of the wind echoed like a lament. He saw beyond the walls. He perceived the future unfolding like a tome before his spiritual eyes. The gold and might of Babylon would transmute into dust, and other kingdoms, even more ostentatious, would rise upon the ruins of their predecessors. The visions carried him through the centuries. Daniel witnessed men erecting empires in the name of human glory, constructing towers that defied the heavens, and enacting laws to supersede those of God. And over them all, a spiritual force moved in the shadows, an ancient entity disguised as light, manipulating kings, manipulating hearts. The prophet observed with anguish. The same spirit of pride that had consumed Nebuchadnezzar now inhabited the hearts of future generations. In a visceral vision, Daniel perceived the emergence of a global system, a power structure poised to unify peoples, tongues, and nations. Yet, concealed beneath the veneer of peace lay dominion, an unseen imprimatur, a silent subjugation. He witnessed throngs bowing, embracing the mark, convinced of their liberation while in reality they were shackled. The prophet shuddered. He comprehended that the most profound enslavement was not corporeal but spiritual. Deception would transmute into the world's nascent creed. Daniel collapsed to his knees, his face awash with tears. "Lord," he whispered, "how will your people withstand?" And then a reply came as a celestial whisper, "The wise shall comprehend, the faithful shall remain steadfast, and in the end they shall shine as eternal stars." Those words rekindled something within him. The faith that seemed to be waning reignited like a desert blaze. Even in the face of chaos, Daniel understood that the end was not merely destruction, it was revelation. Time, that enigma humanity endeavors to master, began to reveal itself to Daniel in a supernatural fashion. In one of the most striking visions, he beheld a celestial calendar, not constituted of days and months, but of events and signs. Each seal, each number, each cycle, unerringly indicated an unavoidable destiny. He grasped that the Creator does not act outside of time, but intrinsically within it, shaping each epoch according to his eternal purpose. Daniel perceived the invisible thread connecting the past to the future, The beasts he had witnessed were not merely emblems of what had been, they were portents of what was to come. He foresaw the proliferation of knowledge, the ascendance of new edifices of human wisdom, machines and voices traversing the firmament, and instantaneous communication bridging disparate peoples. He saw humanity believing it had vanquished the impossible, yet forfeiting the essential, its connection to the sacred. In this view, a new generation was rising. Men and women who sought to comprehend the spiritual through human logic. They established systems, philosophies, and doctrines that supplanted faith. Daniel felt the weight of future apostasy, the coldness of hearts, the estrangement between man and the Creator. But the angel returned and touched his shoulder. "Fear not, Daniel, even in the densest darkness there will be light. Even when the world forgets the name of the Most High, he will not forget his people." The prophet arose, renewed. He understood that each revelation was also a summons, a call to resist, to remain steadfast, even when all appears lost. And he wrote, not for his generation, but for a distant one, which would live on the cusp of time. A generation that would witness the fulfillment of what he merely dreamed. And it is this generation, ours, that bears the responsibility of comprehending what was sealed. Daniel was strolling along the banks of the Tigris River when the wind began to blow with a peculiar intensity. The once placid waters seemed to mirror an unseen conflagration emanating from the heavens. His heart hammered against his ribs. Time itself appeared to contort and yield before him, and then, abruptly, the natural world dissolved, and the supernatural coalesced into tangible form. An ineffable luminescence enveloped him, and Daniel was spirited away to a panorama that no mortal eye had ever before beheld. He beheld thrones being positioned amidst a cosmic vastness beyond all measure, and upon the chief throne there sat a being of ancient countenance, the Ancient of Days. His raiment shone brighter than snow, and his throne blazed with pure, fiery flames. Streams of light flowed like incandescent rivers, and thousands upon thousands attended him in hallowed silence. Books were opened, and the sound that ensued was deafening, like the echo of the universe itself being judged. Daniel beheld the empires of wickedness dissolving before him. The beasts, symbols of haughty nations and powers that had defied the Most High, trembled, being dislodged from their thrones. The roar of earthly kingdoms fell silent. Then, from the clouds, the Son of Man emerged, majestic, glorious, robed in power and eternity. He came not as an earthly conqueror, but as the King promised since the dawn of time, bringing forth the kingdom that would never end. Daniel could not contain his tears. He wept as one who understood the weight of history and the price of redemption, the end of oppression, the triumph of justice, the moment when light would finally dispel all darkness. The kingdom of God was emerging not through swords and armies, but through the divine presence that restored what sin had destroyed. But the vision did not solely depict glory. There was pain preceding redemption. Daniel witnessed the earth tremble, wars proliferating, nations collapsing, famines ravaging peoples, the very air thick with dread and uncertainty. The entire planet seemed to cry out as if seized by convulsions. And amidst the chaos, one voice resonated above all human voices. "Come out of her, my people." It was the final plea, the urgent call to fidelity, the divine summons for the chosen people to separate themselves from the shadows before the fire of justice descended. Daniel understood that God's judgment was not merely condemnation, it was also purification. The world would not be destroyed by chance, but restored by a holy fire. Justice would come not only to punish evil, but to remake creation, to cleanse that which had been defiled, to return to the universe the pristine radiance of the divine presence. He fell face down to the earth, utterly spent and overcome with dread. His body quaked, but the angel beside him gently lifted him. The celestial voice resonated once more, soft as a breeze and firm as thunder. "You are greatly beloved, Daniel. Seal the words of this scroll until the time of the end. Many will run to and fro, and knowledge will increase, but only the wise will comprehend what is about to unfold." Daniel felt the weight of eternity upon his shoulders. He knew that what he had witnessed transcended his generation, his people, and his time. It was a revelation for future centuries, for a world that would one day lose its way and need to remember that God still reigns over the kingdoms of men. And so he wrote. He wrote until his hands ached, until ink mingled with tears. Each word was a testament to the unseen, each prophecy an echo of eternity. The scratching of his quill upon the parchment blended with the whisperings of the Spirit. He knew he was chronicling the world's destiny, and that one day, long after his own mortal span had passed, the eyes of the wise would open to comprehend what he had beheld. The vision ceased. The wind once more swept across the Tigris River. But Daniel was no longer the same. He had beheld the throne of God, the judgment of the nations, and the proclamation of the end. Heaven had marked him, and though his days on earth were to be extinguished, his message would endure, a prophetic beacon traversing the centuries, igniting the hope of the faithful and the dread in the hearts of the wicked. For Daniel not only saw the future, he felt the future, he lived it in spirit. And ever since, the clock of heaven began to tick toward the time when the eternal kingdom will come forever. Centuries have elapsed, and Daniel's pronouncements have traversed generations. What was once prophecy is now beginning to manifest as reality. The modern world is experiencing precisely what he foresaw. The proliferation of knowledge, the convergence of peoples under a global discourse, control exerted through imperceptible means, surveillance masquerading as security, faith supplanted by technology, all resonate with the ancient text. What Daniel saw in symbols we see on screens, what he heard as visions, we live as news. The beasts have disguised themselves as systems, and the crowns have become algorithms. The end time is no longer the future, it is the present, and the spiritual war has never been more intense. In the unseen realm, angels and demons continue their eternal struggle. The same Michael who fought for Daniel today contends for us. The same celestial battle persists, only the stage has shifted. And the heart is the battlefield. Humanity seeks answers everywhere but in the Word, yet an awakening is unfolding. Men and women are experiencing the same calling that Daniel felt during the nights of exile. A holy restlessness, a premonition that something momentous is imminent. The prophetic clock does not cease. Every disaster, every global movement, every crisis is a piece that fits into the puzzle the prophet foresaw millennia ago. And when the final seal is broken, silence shall be shattered. The sound of trumpets will reverberate across nations, and the Son of Man will emerge amidst the clouds. Daniel foresaw this very moment. He beheld the faithful ascending, their gazes fixed upon eternity, as the forces of malevolence were cast into eternal darkness. He witnessed the triumph of light. But before the glory, there will be the confrontation, and it is in this time that we find ourselves. A time when faith must be more than mere words. It must be a stance. Prophecy was not written to incite fear, but to awaken courage. Daniel, at the twilight of his days, found peace. Yet his words remain vibrant, pulsing like a prophetic heart amidst a world yet to grasp that endings are not annihilation, but rather a new beginning. If this story resonated with you, if something within you stirred, subscribe now. This channel is more than just videos. It's a space of revelation and hope. Share what you felt. Tell us in the comments what you learned from Daniel and what these prophecies have awakened within you. Each testimony fortifies the faith of our community. And remember, time is of the essence, but those who walk with God are never late.